Hey y'all, this is Leah from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. You may recall last week we posted a video called Bad Well Blues where we were digging this giant hole for a cistern, and this was a solution for a bad well. First, I want to clarify that this is at a house down the road, not at the ranch. At the ranch, we have an awesome well. However, this well is total garbage. This is a gallery well, and if you don't know how a gallery well is constructed, typically a gallery well makes use of groundwater, shallow groundwater. So around here, that's typically 12 to 14 feet deep. The way that this thing is constructed is there's a big culvert pipe laying horizontally down in the ground. That culvert pipe has perforations in it to allow water to flow through, and then surrounding the whole culvert pipe you would have a big gravel field that actually filters the water and removes any sediment. On top of that, you would have a layer of visqueen, and then you would bury the whole thing. This well on paper is supposed to be 12 feet deep and of course includes said gravel field. Well, it turns out that it's only measuring 10.4 and it doesn't have a gravel field at all, which explains why the water in it was coming in with lots of sediment, but also we have been in drought for a couple of months and this well went dry. That actually shouldn't happen here because we are so close to the river, like I'm literally within practically stone's throw of the river, and the water table at the moment is actually about 8 feet down. So this well should not be dry. However, without that gravel to filter the sediment, the perforations in the culvert pipe get plugged and the well can't recharge. Plus, it's not deep enough. In other words, the well is complete crap, and it's probably been filling in with sediment over 20 years, and that may be why it's not as deep as it is supposed to be on paper, but also on paper it claims to have a gravel field, and it does not. So, that's the background on all of this. The result is that I have to dig a new well here next year. In the interim, though, there's no water, so the cistern is the solution for the water. Now, this hole was dug specifically for a concrete cistern. This thing weighs 13,500 pounds. However, this is cistern number 2, and I will explain why that is the case in the upcoming footage. I also want to talk about the choice of a concrete cistern over a plastic one. For one, I found that the concrete cistern was pretty comparable price-wise to a similarly sized, good quality plastic cistern. So about $2,500, you'd probably pay somewhere between 21 and 23 for, this is an 1,800 gallons, so let's say an 1,800 gallon plastic, I'll just say Norwesco brand is an excellent brand of cistern, I'm told. So totally cost effective. I originally thought that a concrete cistern had a better chance of withstanding any vehicular traffic, and this is right next to a driveway. However, that's not really true. There are concrete cisterns that are designed to withstand vehicular traffic. This is not one of them, and in fact, it's quite clear that you cannot bury one of these more than 2 feet. And in fact, my well contractor told me that she has another customer whose concrete cistern lid cracked because it was buried too deeply. So, yeah, you really don't want anyone driving over this regardless. However, it does turn out that there was another benefit, which is that the water table here is so high. It's, as I said earlier, it's like about 8 feet right now, and we originally dug this hole at about 7.5, and hopefully you can see that it's kind of wet down there. And that's because we actually did reach the water table, and our clean fill sand bed is what soaked up all the moisture. So with a plastic cistern, I think in this situation, you would really have to anchor that in the hole by, I guess, building some concrete anchors and strapping it down so that it doesn't float up out of the ground when empty, or if the water table comes up some more, or both. So that's about that choice. In any case, on to the cistern swap footage, where we talk about the hopefully last problem that we had with this project, of which there have been many. So here we are on cistern attempt number 2. We had big problems with this cistern. We filled it with water, and it turns out it was cracked in at least 7 places. And we think that it may be the result of how the cistern was set down in the hole. It was rocking a little bit still when it was put down for its final seat, and that is unacceptable. So one option was to repair the cracks, but with all of those cracks, that just seemed like a terrible idea. So instead, I basically demanded a whole new cistern, and unfortunately that meant that all of the plumbing work had to get undone and now has to be redone, an expense that I'm hoping to be reimbursed for. So right now these guys are just figuring out exactly how they want to do this, get the old cistern out and the new cistern in, and I'm letting them take their time. And thankfully I also requested that they send another worker to guide the cistern in, because it's completely crazy that the first round it was only the crane operator with no one to guide it in. Fortunately we had an Allen here that was able to do that, but we don't have an Allen today, and it's also not our job. So I'm really pleased that they sent a second person, and hopefully this goes smoothly and we end up with a cistern that doesn't leak. Because if it does, it would really suck, and we need water. We will come back to this when there's more activity. So it looks like, based on space constraints and not having a lot of places to put a cistern down on the ground, it looks like we're going to offload the new one into the front yard, then remove the old one, and then put the new one in the hole. So we'll see how this goes. Yep, awesome. So those boards are coming out, and the new cistern is going to sit on those. I like that these guys are taking their time. The first crane operator that was here seemed like she was in a rush, kinda. Yeah, she seemed like she was in a rush, not kinda. Here it comes, off the truck. Making sure it doesn't hit anything. I can see there's a date on it, 9/17/20. That's the day it was manufactured, which was 2 days ago? I don't know what the date is. Good. You said, stop, I need to adjust this, and they're listening to each other. That's awesome. Checking everything before he lets go. Adjusting. Okay, so this harness is going to come off, and then they're going to work on getting the old cistern out of the hole. So we will come back.
Everybody taking pictures.
Cistern's coming out of the hole now. This is the damaged cistern. Hoping they don't hit the sidewalls too much.
See how smooth it is?
Yeah, really smooth. Going nice and slow. This is how it needs to be done. Okay, time for us to go in and clean out any rocks. So now we're just going to clean up any rocks that had fallen in, but you can see that that's a beautiful, clean pad that we made. So I just cleared a bunch of rocks out this morning that had fallen in since, with everybody walking around it. But that looks perfect, and we're just going to grade the edges a little. So now we are offloading the old damaged cistern off the truck so that the new cistern can be put back on the truck. The truck can be moved back into position at the hole and then put in. I'm guessing that this cistern is awash with all those cracks, which is interesting because the first option that was presented to me was to repair all of these cracks, and I decided that that was not a good option. Besides, I paid for a brand new solid cistern, not a cistern that had cracks in multiple places. Granted, one of the benefits of a concrete cistern is that it can be repaired if it cracks. However, starting off with at least 7 cracks that leak is not ideal. We'll be back. These guys are taking their time, and I really appreciate that, because that's what it takes. Clearly. Rushing does not help. When you have a 13,500-pound box hanging off a harness in a crane, going slow for small movements only makes sense. Getting ready to put the new cistern in the hole.
You told them you want the same position because of the plumbing?
Indeed.
You understand?
Yep. This is the Jenga part where you've got to get the hook on the harness. I guess that's not really Jenga, that's
If you can't get the hook on, you can't install the box.
very good point.
That was like the excavator. If you can't get it on your trailer, you can't have it. They're the keys.
Yeah, if you can't get the hook on, you don't have business doing this job, basically. More like fishing rather than Jenga. More like one of those vending machines with little toys in it.
Moment of truth.
That's what I said. Right when I started the video. Moment of truth. Exactly that. So I'm hoping that we don't hit the rock pile here. Oh, we're gonna miss it. Good. We need the 2 on this side. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Slow and steady wins the race.
Looks good. Right down.
Are we rocking too much?
No, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. More rock stone.
Yep. I saw.
Let's grab it.
Okay. So we've just lifted it again a little so that we can shift this over about 6 inches.
Good.
Yeah, that's great.
Good right there.
Yeah.
Come on down here. Down. Oh, right there. Oh. How's that?
Yeah. Good, Diamond?
Same.
Looks the same? No. No, it's over a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
You like it? Yes, sir. That's the line.
Yeah.